Hey people, welcome back for another edition of the Jagged Edge. This is Ian here along with Chris.
What's up, everyone?
Hey, hope you're having a solid weekend. Chris and I are both coming right off of seeing Wonder Woman.
I am having a wonderful weekend.
This guy. we did a brief review. Got a chance to hack through or knee through or cut shield through whatever. Go find some good Amazonian term to talk about.
Absolute truth through.
Thank you.
Some word we're using there is through, with various abilities and items that she has.
We
Did you catch that? Wonder Woman. Yeah. What'd you think?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this, and for considering, a lot of people consider a kind of bland character. I know I did. I've never had any vested interest in Wonder Woman as a character. Other times, the old school Linda Carter, she was this super patriotic look. Hey, for what they work with in the story they developed, I thought they did a good job, and it was good to see a good pace story like this coming out of DC.
It was a good, fun movie, done really well. The rumors that we'd heard from a former producer or someone who worked at Warner Brothers who said it was a disjointed piece of crap. Maybe it was at the time. It certainly isn't what we saw. Really good movie. It does have its issues at the end, though, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. You can totally get past that, but it does leave questions for the future. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure. Again, if you want to check that out, you can pan on over and check out our exclusive review we're going to have in this one. Crank up that Wonder Woman theme if you want to while looking at it. Maybe not. That'll distract from what we're saying too much. But I love that theme. Let me just say that's another thing DC have managed to do here that I'm actually pretty impressed with. I think of that movie, I think of Wonder Woman in the current cinematic universe, and I think of that theme.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's good.
But I also think of another theme now.
Oh, because it actually has a jingle.
I believe I could fly.
Oh, not that.
And that is the extent of the singing.
Oh, man. If you want to learn more about that part again, check out the review.
Check out the review or check out the movie. Yeah. But I totally derailed your transition into what you finally have now. You have a jingle.
And I was just getting ready to launch right into it. This is for the Info Minute. Alright, so for the completely random piece of information I had today, this is for anybody who digs traveling, especially if you do a lot of overseas travel. Now, it's been a number of years since I've been over myself. I lived in the UK for a few years and got to visit a lot of, spring worked a lot of places from there, but this is something that I really, really wished I would have had for all those times I had a hard time translating something, or I really wanted to say something in a way and I couldn't get it across the way I could to the locals. There's a device called the Ely. That's the best way I can say it. ILI. You want to beat me up in pronunciation, so be it. There's another way.
You would get beaten up by me. I'm sure I would. That might be right.
Yeah, this is this only works for single line communications. That's just person to person, so it isn't something you take to translate the entire crowd. But it's 1-to-1. It's a device that doesn't require any kind of Wi-Fi. It is essentially its own built-in CPU, just a simple, really simple, but a smart translating transition engine where you can speak a phrase. Honestly, probably recommend it if you're traveling around. Something that'd be a simple, yes or no. But you, at the press of a button, you speak and it translates for you. And the same thing can go back the opposite direction. Someone that's speaking to you in a different foreign language, you could get at least the gist of what's being delivered. So I know it might look like you're walking around with something like a Star Trek tricorder or whatever else, but it's not that bulky of a device. It's something that seems pretty instantaneous. There's a pre-order section up for it now. I believe those are going on for 30 days. There's 27 days of it left right now as I speak. That's still in a countdown right now. But this is something pretty cool for traveling that might make your life real easy if you have no idea how to navigate through the native tongue of where you're at.
That is pretty cool, and Star Trek is exactly what I thought of when you said it. So it's in pre-order. When's it supposed to be out?
To be honest, I mean, you can go ahead and place your order. I mean, I think the early bird price is like right now it's at $189, and in a little bit less than a month now, I think is the official release. I have no idea about the stock of these or anything else like that, but looks like it's slated right for the top of July. Right.
So it must be pretty good, though. I mean, isn't that kind of the whole thing, the language barrier, basically people's dialect and how they say things versus what a machine who's been, has been programmed to understand that this is what they're saying.
Right.
Obviously, even here in America, there's a lot of different dialects and a lot of different ways to say things that aren't quite English appropriate.
Exactly. I think another good example of that would be like you're in Japan. The Okinawan dialect might have a slightly different twinge to it than like people who are native from Tokyo, something like that. I don't think we're quite at the point where we get the nuances of like inflection or the really small uses of like way that like a verb or a noun can flip depending on what tense or just or different dialect use. Not quite there, but at least we have things are getting general enough now to where you can make your life a little easier with this stuff, and I think it's all part of building towards eventually one day full on completely accurate translate. Okay. We'll see.
That's cool. So this week's episode of the Jagged Edge is brought to you by Ely.
Wish I had another tagline behind that, but
kind of seems like it. But hey, maybe it will. I'll give him a call.
Simple enough.
Oh, hey, so there you go. Use info minutes. And apparently, if I can say that, if you have your Ely on, you can hear it in whatever language you want.
Oh, man.
All right. Okay, we're moving on. That was bad. Okay. What do we got for the news here? Big news that has happened. We took a week off, so
yep.
So this is a little late, but definitely something we need to talk about. Zack Snyder stepping down for the rest of his director duties for Justice League. Joss Whedon picking up the baton.
The shakeup. The shakeup continues.
Yeah. So this is for absolutely horrible reasons. We're not going to focus on this. In fact, should we even say specifically what it is? I don't have it. Yeah, I do have it in the notes, but it's pretty bad. It's family tragedy. I think that's probably just a good way to.
Yeah, I think it's best to leave it at that.
That's not the story, and we're not going to focus on that. Family tragedy. He continued. He tried to continue working, but couldn't. So
yeah.
he had to step down. But I know it's not quite appropriate to say it, but in a sense, Marvel's Joss Whedon taking over. But he hasn't really been a part of the Marvel cinematic universe for a little while. But I mean, that's always going to be something he can hang his hat on. I mean, created what we said some weeks ago was the best comic book movie to date.
Yeah.
So he's got Justice League. This isn't as mind-blowing as some may hope or think. I mean, the movie's been pretty much done. It's in the can.
Right.
It's in post-production. There are some reshoots apparently that are still happening, but the direction, the style, all of it that Zack Snyder has put out for this movie is still the direction they're going in. I would say that this is probably mainly post-production as far as editing and special effects, deciding which clips they actually go with for the final cuts. This isn't really going to change things, though, but God, that would have been cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right. We're right in the verge of it. I mean, like you're saying, you'd made it like the general style and the flow. That's not going to shift a whole lot here, but you've already got this twinge in the board of quote unquote cross universal talent. Almost.
Right. Well, maybe Justice League 2, if they ever get to it, which they may or may not. After 10 different directors, maybe Joss Whedon will finally take over for it. But yeah, still pretty neat. The guy who launched comic book movies into the stratosphere that they're in now doing that for the opposition, so to speak, which they are in some degrees. And at the same time, if one does well, the other one benefits from it. But yeah, that is pretty cool, and that's got to be pretty cool for Joss to have his names on both these huge landmark movies for each for Marvel and DC. I don't think that I hope he gets on the credits for it. He probably will, since it's so since it is such a wide known story. They'll
Yeah.
the credits, but this actually happens a lot. You get a lot of different directors getting their hands in things, especially when it comes to reshoots, things in post production.
Right.
The big main director doesn't always follow that all the way through. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And sometimes you do have really big directors who lend a hand. I think most notably that comes to mind was for Episode 7, Steven Spielberg gave a few suggestions to J.J. Abrams on some of the things that he could do for that after watching a rough cut of the final movie. And they ended up being put in there. So these things happen. This looks like it's going to be a little bit more hands-on, but this is all very after the fact. This is all pretty much all post-production. But it's kind of cool that they're just like, give it to Joss, who obviously is doing Batgirl as well, which is going to be pretty cool, I hope.
Yeah, I mean this is someone that is more than capable with what we've seen demonstrated in screenplay and the types of Marvel stories we've been going through, and hey, I'd love to see DC really find its feet, because they've got so much potential here to really do their own version of a cinematic universe. And of course it's going to vary from Marvel's because they have a different setup. I'd argue a group of pretty overpowered characters to actually deal with on both sides, good guys and bad guys. So
a little overpowered.
Yeah. How they're going to juggle that is
that's not referencing to anything we just watched.
No, not why would we do that? There's no reason. But no,
I'm waiting for the Flash to come out to be a god too.
Yep. Oh no, that's of course. I mean, he was dude. I mean, didn't you know he was Hermes all along? I mean, you should keep up.
But yeah, all right. I'm sorry. There's me getting all negative. No, hey, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to Justice League. This if I didn't know much about how production for movies and things like that go, I'd be like, oh my god, this is Joss Whedon. He's directing Justice League now.
Right.
So I think they might be taking advantage of that a little bit, because a lot of people, look, Zack Snyder can frame a damn good shot.
Yes, he can.
He can't do a lot of the other directorial things very well, but he can frame a damn good shot. And I can appreciate a lot of the style he goes for. But, I mean, he put his stamp of approval on Batman v Superman. And,
sure.
Yeah, that was all him, and he was more than happy to tell you that before it came out.
Yep.
So I've been worried about this, and I'm still not completely okay with what we're gonna get, because I mean, that trailer we got is a whole lot of pretty shots, but not a lot of substance.
In talking about framing shots, this is the other good thing about Snyder's work, that I can look back and remember used from each of his films, like a certain shot that I really enjoyed or that sticks out. Like, again, Batman vs. Superman, the moment where Wonder Woman steps into the fray, and the three of them, Superman, Wonder, and Batman, all gear up to go attack Doomsday. That quick frame right there was fantastic. I loved it, and
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. It didn't just set the tone for everything else, but it fit. That was an awesome shot.
You say that though, and this is what I was going to bring up. You say that, but at the same time, you know what people had a big problem with that shot with? You remember that?
No. You're gonna have to enlighten me here.
Because Batman's holding a gun.
Oh, that.
But I think that's a perfect metaphor for exactly what you're talking about. It's a very good-looking shot. It's almost perfect. Almost exactly the way it should be, but Batman's holding a gun.
Well, I mean, I wonder, because if you look at how he is with gadgets and whatnot, you see, there's never been an issue raised with his like the bat grappling hooks.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, because it's really just it's kind of a rocket launcher for the Kryptonian, for the kryptonite thing. for the kryptonite canisters and stuff.
It is, but it was also ironically for bats. Now that you point that out, it was one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't moments. Like I think without it, it's like, come on, if Batman squares up for like fisticuffs or something, come on, we know he's not in the league of Wonder Woman or Superman here, so that would just fall flat.
But I'm talking just under the context of that shot.
Yeah.
And could they have done one take with him not holding the gun? Yeah.
Right.
I just thought it was perfect metaphor. But yeah, what you're saying at the same time, it's like. But I noticed that when I saw that even in trailers before the movie, it's like, what the hell's Batman holding? Is that a gun?
Yeah.
Didn't you notice that too?
Yeah, I did. But you see, I'm always under this assumption with bats. Like, look, whatever he's doing, especially if he's carrying something, he's got a plan, and I guarantee he's probably going to be the reason that they solve whatever problem they're facing. So you know what, bats, go ahead, man. You can carry a gun, you can carry a laser rifle, you can carry a hand grenade, whatever. You're going to do something with it.
Yeah. I was just saying, under the context of what you were saying, it was like, yeah, all right. No, but it's still a cool shot, but still Batman with a gun. If you remember, it pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then he killed all the people in the movie, and they had a whole other reason.
Yeah. I mean, man, that actually took me off guard.
Yeah.
This wasn't just like a one-off or a 3-minute cinematic moment. I mean, it was just kind of wonton like left and right. Like,
yep.
Golly.
Let's see, though. Eventually, we'll get a Batman movie. I think.
Yeah, it was kind of funny with this one because we went right into a pretty major story without another origin story beforehand or another reboot. Which is again so interesting, and we pointed at this a lot before. Obviously, the Nolan films have nothing even are completely disattached, dissociated with this universe. But it almost felt that, hey, Batman is so thoroughly impressed in people's consciousnesses by this point, and just his image and what he is as a hero. It's like, do we need to do it again? Let's just go right into bat suits. So I don't know.
Yeah, we don't need to rehash all that.
Nah.
Speaking of disappointments, though.
Yeah, there's we both have some here, gaming wise, but I was pretty furious about this.
Hold on. Just let me say, if you guys have missed me or ripping into Nintendo, you're gonna have some fun. If you hate it when I rip into Nintendo, yeah, you're gonna be mad at me again.
Red meat incoming.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, at least I'll try to pre-buffer a bit my disappointment. There was a very recent release as of this week. This was from Square. Actually, well, to be fair, not this week, but you get it. In the time that we have missed. So Square, at least usually biannually, maybe at least once a year, their current present CEO, that's Yosuke Matsuda, he comes out and talks a little bit about their financial briefing, but also talks a bit about the prospectus, the release schedule. It's coming up. And, in past years, that was something a lot of Square fans got hyped about. It's like, oh, hey, this is when the next FF's coming out. Hey, cool, this is when the new Tomb Raider game's coming and everything else. Okay, this has steadily degraded a lot over the years as production times have just ballooned to infinity. Those of you who are really in RPGs, or have even followed Final Fantasy 15, what that was unbelievable. Skipped an entire generation of consoles because the development got so out of control. It was first supposed to be part of FF13, and then Versus 13, and then Versus Agido 13, and then part of the Fabula Nova Crystallis. And, okay, you know what? Push all that aside. It's none of that. Now it's FF15, and now it's X amount of years into it, and we finally just got 15 recently. So, if that made you tired, you're gonna get more tired. There was the recent announcement for where Square is sitting with their games for the remainder of 2017. That's third quarter and beyond. We're looking at the digital content releases for FF15, Tomb Raider, World of Final Fantasy, Nier Automata, and Deus Ex. Also FF12, Zodiac Age, and Dragon Quest 11. Oldie there. I never played the Dragon Quest game much, but I know they're pretty big, especially with Akira Toriyama's art, Dragon Ball and Chrono Trigger. But
Can I say a couple things before you continue?
Yeah.
One, I completely forgot that they have Tomb Raider now. I'd heard that the last one was really good.
Yes.
It's on my list of games to play at some point. Secondly, Final Fantasy 12 is still a thing?
Yeah, no, okay, you might be thinking the online version, 11.
I'm sorry, yeah, you're right. I was thinking 11.
Yeah, it's easy to cross the two. I say that because 12 was sort of like, we lovingly call it the pseudo MMO. It was like the single player MMO, almost like that last post-age experiment.
So this was a one-off, though.
Right, and 12 was your standard, single player, FF, but it played very similar to an MMO.
Okay.
Which was the funky part about it. But yeah, they're doing the big re-release for it with new content. FF12, the Zodiac Age. This is going along the lines with either re-releases or full remakes that Square is really starting to dig into. It started years back with the FF Anthology series, the ones that we never got here in the US, like FF5 and others, and they just went on. But anyway, okay, that's all well and good. But there's the 300-pound gorillas in. Okay, 300 short. The 3,000-pound gorillas in the room that everyone has been looking at for Square are Kingdom Hearts 3 and FF7 Remake. Now,
not everyone.
We got
really well. No, I
agree.
It's a remake, but I could give half a shit about Kingdom Hearts 3.
And I understand why. And people are going to give even less craps about it because of how long this is taking. Look, about a few years back, we just got our first tease at the FF7 remake. It was released.
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, dude, 10 years. Totes. It's been a decade already.
Oh, wasn't that seriously like 2 years ago though?
Yeah, it was 2015, if I recall.
Okay, yeah, it really was. Okay,
I
was shooting in the dark.
No, I believe that was E3 2015, and I'm actually looking at that as I speak about it. And when that happened. The first thing people were asking was, okay, what's the release cycle going to be like for this? And then they come out and say, okay, this is going to be episodic. The instant worry with that is, okay, if you cannot time your releases properly between each, you will lose interest between each one. Or if this is 2 parts or 3 parts, whatever it is.
Wait, did someone actually tell that to Square Enix that if it takes too long between one from the other, people will lose interest?
No.
They hear that.
No. Even if they did,
they don't care about that.
No. And here we are here. So the main crux of everything I'm saying here with these two is that there was a few games that were listed on the 2018 and beyond list. And beyond, take that as whatever you want it to be. But the titles listed on this are Marvel IP license to be announced. Yes, it's so far off, we don't even have it nailed down as to what this Marvel IP thing is. FF7 Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3. For goodness sake, okay, I dealt with long releases, and I'm pretty patient when it comes to this stuff. And look, I have tried to be one of the most optimistic of the optimistic about, especially FF7 Remake. Hey, when it came out in '97, you're looking at a fanboy right here. One of the reasons I got a PS1 was to play FF7. But this is ridiculous at this point, and it's just something that I think will serve to even alienate longtime hardcore fans at this rate. I mean, it would be one thing if it was just FF7 Remake, to hype it, throw the red meat at you in 2015 and say, prep year, maybe 2018 and maybe beyond. You'll see more about it. And honestly, I'm not even buying 2018 at this point. I would expect it, they said, within the next, 3 years or so. But see, that was the annoying caveat to this. They said, 2018 or it'll be released in the next 3 years or so. It's such an open book, and considering the amount of time, overtime that they put into 13 and developing 15 or what became 15 and everything else, I can't trust this. I don't have anything reliable or tangible to run off here, and it's just insane. And if you frame that alongside Kingdom Hearts 3, this sucks. Kingdom Hearts 3 was posted.
How long has that been now?
That was posted in time immemorial, man. We first heard about KH3 back in the. Okay, this is gonna make you laugh. The concepts for this game started back in 2006
Are you serious? Are you dead serious? 11 years ago, they announced concept art and ideas for Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's when the first concepts began with the Kingdom Hearts 2 final mix. What they tend to do with these games is you'll have like a 2.538 HD final mix, blah blah blah. That'll hint at something else down the road. That's when you got your first hints at it, like that long ago. Okay.
See, okay. All right. I'm gonna stop. Stop. I don't get this because when they do finally come out with these games, they're not that great.
No,
and I'm just being objective. Like Final Fantasy 15, I know a lot of people like it.
Right.
I'm not a fan of them anymore. But I looked into it. I saw some reviews. I saw some gameplay. Watched some of the cutscenes. There's nothing spectacular here. The days of Square Enix or Squaresoft, whichever it was when they at that time, of them being groundbreaking is long gone. What are they serious? I'm trying to be objective here.
No.
Are they trying to be those groundbreaking developers again? Do they just think they are when they won't accept the fact that they're not? Why are they citing why this is taking so long?
You know, the biggest reason, I know, at least for KH3, I can't speak as much to FF7, and I'll touch on something else with that in a minute. They have stretched Director Nomura thin with these projects. You know, part of the holdup and why 15 was taken out of his hands and put into Tabata's hands later on was because he had too much stuff he's working on. You know, he's taking all this time to do KH, and then on 15 all these other projects, and as a result, stuff gets left behind and it doesn't get completed. So,
do they know that there's other people that can direct these things?
You would think. Here's the thing with Nomura. Okay, he's a skilled artist. That was traditionally his role for years within the FF series, simply doing concept art, doing full character art. You know, like developing the conceptual sketches. You know, getting all the character aesthetics nailed down. He's awesome at that. You know, there were never any issues as far as framing and scheduling with that. And you know, he got his first director successes. You know, he worked in KH2. He directed Advent Children. That was well received. And, you know, Square, it's just like he gained this superstar status, and they've been putting him on everything since. But his management, with just the amount of time he divides on project, is crazy. I mean, obviously, look, if you're overtaxing the man, don't make him do it. Just leave him in the art role. He's fine there. As you said, there's plenty of other capable people willing to do this stuff. But my instant worry when I saw 7 Remake announced was Nomura as like one of the heads, and I'm like, oh Lord, like if he has any control over like the direction, there's a chance that this is going to get dragged out. And sure enough, I mean, I don't know.
It sounds like this is taking so long. He could have trained several people by now to work underneath him and take over when he's got too much going on at a certain time. I don't.
And funny you mentioned that. There is an article that just got released. It's about 25th of May by Silicon Air, and also confirmed by IGN that Nomura posted a message that their team is "quote unquote" urgently seeking additional talent to join the FF7 development team.
I mean, it sounds. How long has he been doing this?
This was announced, I believe, it was June 2015. Do you mean how long he's been directing?
Yeah, how long has he been directing? How long has he been a part of Square?
Let's see.
Decades, right?
Yeah.
So he could have had children, raised them, and taught them himself. His own offspring. And
yeah, I mean Nomura's 46 years old. He was born in 1970, and I'm trying to remember when he actually began his first career at Square. I know he joined he saw an advertisement from Yoshitaka Amano. He was really into him. But yeah, I mean, in the early 1990s, he got hired by Square. He was a debugger on FF4, and he later on worked his way up and to art. So since 1990, man,
I'm not without understanding here. One
right.
of my favorite trilogies, the Ico trilogy. The last one took, I think, 11 years. Last Guardian to come out. I'm not without understanding on the situation. I'm not without understanding that artists wanted things to be right, but that damn game almost died time on the way to it finally coming out, and we were all very lucky that we got it at all. These guys just won't let them die, though. They fucking necro this stuff. I'm sorry for the F-bomb.
No.
But they do. They necro these things. They drag them out. They feed them feed them an M&M every once in a while until they feel like they can finally start working on them again. This is stupid.
The concern for that is, again, the death of it. Now, with 7 Remake, I get it. Like you said, they want to nail it down. I give them leeway on that. I'd rather have a quality release. When they announced 7 Remake, I said to myself, I'm not even going to look for it in 2016, 17, 18, probably not 19. I kind of said to myself, I'll look back up in like 2020 and see if it's there. But, when I see this for KH3, will be stretching into a decade. Has actually, as far as...
There's a whole generation of kids who don't even give a crap about that thing anymore.
No, it's just... I don't know, man. So
I never understood the whole thing with Kingdom. Well, no, I kind of get it. It's like, oh, look, they're merging worlds. Yeah, I understand that. I'm not a big children's Disney fan. I've never watched a classic Disney movie all the way through.
Yeah.
I'm just not. So I get why people are interested in it, but whatever. The Marvel thing, I'm not totally surprised on, only because they just announced that a few months ago.
Right.
But yeah, this Final Fantasy VII thing. It's been 2 years since that trailer.
Almost 2 years.
That's stupid. This goes to the point of incompetence, and see that was part of the problem with The Last Guardian, was that PlayStation, that's the company, I forget the name at the moment, that it's a small developing company that Sony owns. It's licensed exclusive, and there was a complete reshifting of staff. Like I said, it legitimately almost died several times. And that would have been horrible. I'm glad it didn't. But these things can happen. That's why these things are supposed to happen. And we're probably never going to know exactly why these things take this long. But it gets to the point of incompetence. It's like, look, you have a job to do in various functions as far as your responsibilities. Part of your job is to meet the expectations of the fans, not your expectations. And this is something that you and I have had conversations about when it comes to Square Enix before. In fact, we'll do, and we've always planned on doing a whole topic on Final Fantasy VII, which will expand into other versions of it, because we respectfully stand on different sides of this, but we understand where it comes from on it. I lost faith in Square a long time ago, but this is frustrating to me because I probably will pick up the first of the 20 different episodes of Final Fantasy VII Remake when it comes out. But yeah, I mean, they'll never get guys like me back, and there's millions of guys like me.
Yeah,
and they'll never get them back. I'll try it out, and unless the thing is anything less than perfect, I won't buy the next one, because I'm already just kind of like, well, it's stupid that this thing is a freaking episode to begin with. Nobody wants to put that much time into something like that. Well, let me rephrase. Many people don't want to put that kind of time into something like that. When they do, they're called MMOs.
Thank you very much. And even then, with the way they focus on MMOs, their most successful one right now, FF14. There's a relatively small team that is pushing that and heading up. Yoshida, which he's largely been hailed for saving FF and saving FF MMOs, especially. You would think that that's where a lot of the heavy investment would be going, because that's such a big push for them now. But no, I mean, they're stretched thin with what they do on their team. So it's just, I don't know, man. There's some weird distribution. I understand, some of the quote unquote quality focus and stuff like that, but the concern is repeating this concept of making a game skip a generation.
And so I was just gonna ask that. So this has been 2 years in development. Have we seen gameplay yet for the remake?
Yes.
I have actually seen gameplay. Okay, I have not seen the actual gameplay for the remake.
So it's been a couple of years, and arguably a little bit before that too. We don't know to what extent, because the first trailer was shown 2015. Shortly after that, the next year, last year, we had another trailer that blended a few of the some new CG cinematics and some gameplay to it. And then on top of that, we've had screenshots. But in total, 2 main video releases for this and screenshots and of course that countless interviews. That's what we got.
Okay, all right. And so what I was leading to was, do you think that so what consoles is this supposed to come out on? Xbox and PlayStation?
Right now they're saying the only thing they said about FF7 Remake is play it first on PS4. We don't know anything else beyond that.
So that was going to be my question, though. Are we going to actually play it on the PS4? What do you think?
Well, uh,
We're going into 5 years now with the
if
PS4. I
if
think.
if I were a betting man, I mean, it depends where we're going to be sitting with PS5. I think Square wants to get something out for FF7. At least like episode one. Here's the thing: I'm leery if they can complete the whole thing on one console.
And so yeah, you just scared the crap out of me. Would they actually continue the episodes on a different console?
I don't know. I don't know at this point, and it's crazy saying that.
Is it going to actually be that much space between the episodes?
I don't know because we have very, very loose accounts of like exactly how much time is going to be between each episode. People are assuming, hey, keep this pretty succinct because if you wait a year and a half between episodes, it'll be oh my gosh.
This sounds like the dumbest idea ever. It really does.
So there's stuff that needs to be put in concrete. If we get nailed down, this is the cycle that content will be released. That'll give us a better idea, but we have no idea. We're flying in the dark on that right now. So
I'm sorry, Square Enix fans. I am. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Like I said, I'm not without understanding here. I had to wait 11 years from Shadow of the Colossus till The Last Guardian, and it sucked.
Yeah.
And it would sometimes be years before I checked into it again. Like, I'm sure this project's dead, but let's do a Google search and see what's going on. And we've been through this before with Armored Core, but not to this length, not to this depth. And that was not because they had announced the game, but just because it had been so long since the last one. You're just kind of curious if there's even one coming out again.
Yeah.
Jesus,
it's abysmal, man. So it'll be. I think KH3 is the really huge disappointment here. There's still some things with 7 Remake. I think before I go full, gaslighter and go full pyro mode on it, but we'll see.
All right, so let's continue with the embarrassing failures of Japanese gaming companies. Nintendo.
Here you go.
So we talked about this a few weeks ago. Nintendo, one of the biggest questions was why, because nothing's officially ever been said, but why is Nintendo coming out with like only 10 Nintendo Minis? And that was it.
Right.
Well, and also, and probably maybe 5 figures worth, maybe 50,000 or so. I mean, I'm pulling that out of the dark. But they came out with a ridiculously short number of Nintendo Minis, and the big question was why. This thing is immensely popular, and it's like stupid popular for what it is, which is basically a little system that has less power in it than my frickin' wristwatch. That has 30 Nintendo classic games on it. It was pure nostalgia at its perfection, and everybody wanted one, but they only came out with a handful of them. They literally ran for less than 6 months, and since the initial launch, they were nearly impossible to get a hold of unless you wanted to buy them off of eBay for $300, which, by the way, they were a $60 system. Man. But why? Why are they cutting this off so short? And we theorized about this, and we talked about it. And there was an article that came out. We talked a bit about it. I've bitched about this on several occasions. I honestly think we know why, though. And while this hasn't actually been connected, I'm pretty sure that we know why. So Nintendo, outside of their virtual consoles, which they have done for Nintendo 3DS, the Wii, the Wii U. And they've got some third-party virtual console games out for the Switch. They're now doing a subscription service. The details are a little bit fuzzy on all of this, but the big thing about the subscription service is that it'll give you exclusive access to classic games. A lot of the same ones that you've already bought, that you've already spent. How much do those things go for? Anything from like a few bucks to like $10, $15 for some of them, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you now have a subscription service, which gives you access to these games now, as well as upgraded versions that allow you to play online and chat and other things as well. I think that's it right there. I mean, it's a lot of these classic games, and it's NES games. It's not Super NES games. It's not Nintendo 64 games. These are classic NES games that are that you have access to from the subscription that you can continue to have access to as long as you keep your subscription, which specifies to me says that you could in fact lose access to them if you let it even lapse a month and come back. I mean, look, I get making money off your products. That's why you're doing it. Anybody who wants, here's what you get. You get Square Enix, who thinks they're making art, and to a degree they are. In some games, in fact, they are art.
Yeah.
But look, just like for movies and TV shows are about commercials. Movies are about getting that money in from the box office and from the DVDs.
Yep.
It's about money, and I get that. I never lose sight of that. But this, I swear to God, this is milking it. That cow has been dead for years. You have milked it to death. You've beaten the horse to dust. This is ridiculous. And further, no, go ahead.
No.
Ahead.
It's like, I think of other premium content models, and I want to focus on those two words, premium content. It's one thing when you have innovative or, recent content you come out with and you're creating a subscription service to gain access to or extra features. Look, that's what I'm going to subscribe for. As brilliant as some of the old titles were, look, I'm not going to subscribe to molded cheese. Like, it's not like this stuff exists in such a void or a vault where you can't get access to it. It's been emulated. It's been on different consoles. It's been in mega collections. It's been in so much stuff. In what universe, personally at least, would I want to go pay for a constant premium subscription service for that? It doesn't add up.
Well, here, this is what ticks me off about it, because it would be really cool if you and I could play Mario Brothers together. From you're in Memphis and I'm here in Wisconsin. That would be really cool. That would be awesome if we could be on our Nintendo Minis doing that. Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they just make the Nintendo Mini to give you access to this subscription? And play these 30 games. This subscription service, by the way, is not even available on the Switch yet.
Oh my gosh!
I don't totally understand this, but none of this makes sense. I'm not even trying to make logical sense out of any of this. It's just ridiculous. But I think this is why they killed it. Ultimately, it's because there's this subscription service for all their previous consoles that will give you access to, I'm sure, all of, if not most of those games.
Yeah.
And you can play them online. You can play them with your friends. There's voice that you can do. I think with a smartphone, with a synced-in app, you can do all that.
Well, it kind of makes you wonder these conflicting release models. What happened with that then? If they wanted to push one over the other, why even go through that first type of release cycle? It's just really weird that Nintendo would run into itself, considering how protective they are of their own IPs.
Right. There's other things about this. Quite honestly, I wanted to put this more as a focal point because it's been a big question. It's not just a question we pose. It's been a big question. Why did you come out with this thing and have such a short lifespan with it? Why did you do the things that you did with it? Why? But more importantly to that, why did you do the fans so wrong?
Yeah.
I'm asking you, Ian. I know you know.
Well, back at the times when I was reading Nintendo staff's minds, according to that told me, no. Look,
it's so frustrating.
It is, and this ties into the greater paranoia that Nintendo went into. They had really cornered a lot of the portable market for a while. You had, the stint of the Wii and everything else. But again, it just shows there's this almost this mania, tightness over their own IPs, to the point where they make really weird decisions. It was like, pulling teeth to get them to understand your fans love Super Smash Brothers, support the Evo tournaments. It's okay to have your game played live in front of a world audience. People really like your game. It's okay. So for the rest of this, I'm speechless, man.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I went and saw my brother who lives quite a ways away a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this, and he's like, "Yeah, so I was playing Contra with my kids the other day." I'm like, "How are you playing Contra?" He's like, "Oh, I just got on my old NES and played." All right, well, there you go. There you go. Is it cooler to have the little mini and have the game right there? And yes. Would he have loved to have had one? Yes. Whatever. Does he care enough? Because I think they have a Wii, and I think it's the biggest version that they have. Does he care enough to order the subscription or get the virtual console game? And how many times are people going to actually buy these different versions?
That's the thing that you
I
concerned
would have done
about.
it once. I would have done it once. I would have either gotten Nintendo Mini or even subscribed, at least for a while, to play these games. They probably would have got a lot more money from me doing that. But the fact that I couldn't even get my freaking hands on one,
See,
I spent a lot of money.
if you're really going to push a old content like that, at least do it in the style that Sega did it with Sonic Generations. It's one of the decent decisions that they made with that series, considering how many Sonic blunders they had over the years. But Sonic Generations was really cool because you took all those old stages, the Green Hill Zone, everything else, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, all of that, and you could play through it in like the old school classic style or like the newer school, which was a blend between like 2.5D and like kind of speedier, race style elements. But that was all tied into a larger story with beefier, awesome remakes of maps and everything like that. The point is, it built on the classic content that was there while keeping the classic content. That's an awesome presentation, and that's pretty fresh. But this is, gosh,
yeah, it's dumb. Nintendo, you're done. You're dead to me. You're dead to me, Nintendo. I'm going to emulate you. I am. This is going to be a thing. I'm going to emulate them. I'm going to emulate a Mini. It's a purpose now.
Hey,
I'm going to recreate the damn thing. Nintendo's not going to get a dime. Allegedly, maybe I will. Maybe I don't want to get in trouble legally. So
no, I get you.
I might be joking.
Yeah, man, I see why people do emulators and why there's such a large community for that, because you can only like rehash so many times. In fact,
I'm not joking about them being dead to me.
No, hey, I hear you. I think it points to something even larger that you're seeing with AAA titles, and not just the developing issues that you're talking about Nintendo. We point out with Square too, but the idea of the rehash. Overall, we really seem to be in a time with gaming where we're really looking carefully at what we did before we go forward, full pedal, full speed. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the practice of inflection, really considering what made something successful. What were the elements that went into this? Was it just we just had less to work with, so we just pushed that harder? I think we can achieve so much now, and we got the tools to do it. I think the direction to do that is sort of lost. So we've got it's sort of this time wandering in the woods about a lot of it. I think you see Nintendo struggling with this, going vacillating in different directions with this madness that you just pointed out. Stretched out release schedules and remakes and rehashes and the treatment of retro content overall. I think it's a pretty big statement in the gaming industry right now. So, don't know, man.
R.I.P. Okay. Something else has been beaten to death. So, we got some commentary. Well, everything's commentary. A little bit more commentary here for the rest of the show. Ian, did you know that there's a movie called Spider-Man Homecoming coming out?
You for real?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pretty sure I've seen 90% of this movie at this point. Good God. I mean, there's so much footage. Have you noticed this too?
I have.
This is crazy. Seriously, I've seen, I think, almost beat for beat this movie at this point, minus a couple scenes. Because the footage out there for this, today I'm like, let's see if I can find any more. There's like all this new. Stop. This is Batman v Superman all over again. Because I literally felt like, and I was right, that I had basically seen that movie with all the trailers and footage that was out before the movie even hit.
Yeah, and the worry is that you put so much out there that even if you didn't, show us shot for shot an entire scene, we've already got enough of an idea who the parties are at play or like what's going to happen. Then come on,
right.
We're going to put two and two together. Like the concern is that they've given away so many of the awesome moments. Like, okay, look, here's one that they could have just really kept in the bag. That awesome scene with Stark trying to help push that cruise liner back together, and Spidey like putting countless webs trying to pull it back together. That's so cool because that brings me back to a Spider-Man 2 moment of when he was trying to stop that train.
They never need to show Iron Man helping with that.
They don't. We know this is going to be cool. Spider-Man has come back to the MCU. You could, as far as I'm concerned, you could give us a logo and like a minute or less of footage. That's all we need. Don't Marvel. Just stop.
let me spoil something else in case you didn't see this, everyone. So now I'm going to do it. Okay, so. Did you know that the Vulture and his henchmen are getting all their cool technology? It's all based on, if not completely from, space alien tech. From things that have happened with the Avengers and other things like that. It's all based or created off of that. Did you know that?
Oh, I mean, see, this is the thing about people ruining movies. I mean, Chris, my question is, how can you have this much foresight into something like this?
It was heavily theorized that this is what was going on. That the Vulture, everybody knew the Vulture, especially with the trailers. Everyone knew the Vulture was the main character or the main villain. Then there was the Tinker. The Tinker was announced a long time ago. Then you have he's not Electro. He's another Spider-Man villain. He's like a D kind of
not Shocker.
Shocking, yeah, shocking.
Yeah.
But these guys are, in fact, all together, and they are getting tech that is either directly or indirectly based off of or built off of alien tech that we have seen from various movies. Something that was heavily theorized, but now there's footage. There it is. They just say it. Why are you doing this, Sony? Chill. chill out. You had my money. You already have everybody's money. It's already going to be the biggest movie of the year, with the exception of maybe Star Wars. Yep. It's already going to be the biggest movie of the year. It's already going to blow everything else away as far as the box office is concerned. You've already done it. But don't give away the movie. Don't pull a Batman v Superman and end up being like third or fourth place because you gave away so much.
Yep.
And they are seriously in danger of doing that.
No, it's what you risk. At this point, Batman vs Superman really didn't have any secrets besides Batman's wonton killing. If you can even consider that a secret.
For what? Oh yeah. Well, no. I mean, anyone who's followed the comics at all or is over 20 years old knew that. They're introducing Doomsday. Well, Superman must die.
Yep.
I mean, there really wasn't much hidden. The only thing, the kill, all the mass murdering that Batman does, and the thinnest thread of their mutual mother's first name holding the story together. And this does at least show that it does look like it's going to have a bit more substance than that. I mean, considering the MCU's been around for almost 10 years, you can't walk in that universe without stepping into something of substance. But you're giving away way too much. Stop. Yeah. Don't come out with another trailer. Don't just stop it.
There's no need. I mean, I'm with you too. Next month, I will be right there in the theater checking this one out. I don't need any more coaxing. So
not another clip. Not maybe show a clip or two of Peter in school.
Right.
That doesn't give away anything. Do that. That's all fluffy substance stuff that has to do with Peter the character, but not Peter the story in the movie.
Right.
It's not giving away much. So but Jesus Christ, if I hear one more new thing from the Vulture. God. Okay, so I wasn't sure. I mean, we hadn't actually talked about that at all. I wasn't sure if you were feeling the same way.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, they gotta stop it.
Man.
All right. So this is something that we brought up off and on since we started the show, to the point where I annoyed the crap out of you with it.
Yes.
And gave up. But you told me earlier this week that you'd finally done it. So Ian finally watched Voltron.
Hallelujah. And
season 1, right?
Season 1. Season 1, right. And let me tell you, it was well worth it. Well worth the ride. And you know what? Not just for nostalgia. I'm a big fan of animation in general. The one thing that I think an aspect of it I really enjoy is not just the overall style and overall aesthetic, which is cool, what they pick, but how well it flows. Like how are scenes composed and everything else. And For a production, a complete U.S. made production, and the way the style was done, of course, very close to anime, the way it flows and everything.
You would, in fact, if I probably hadn't have told you, you probably wouldn't have known that that is all American made.
I didn't delve completely all through the credits like that, so no.
No, that is an American made show. But put that aside. That's
No.
kind of that's a different discussion.
It is, this was great. It's cool too because this has flashes of, for some reason, I kept thinking of Megas XLR. As I was watching some of this
Mega
too.
what?
Megas XLR. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I thought you said Mega Sex LR. I'm like, where are you going with this anime talk?
See where your mind's at. But
that's not where my mind was at. That's where I thought you were taking it. No, but I don't even know what Mega XLR is.
No, it was similar. It was on Cartoon Network for a bit, and it was it's a U.S. production, but it just as far as the way the flow is very similar, but it's paced well. It's a really fun ride. You've got so many cool throwbacks to the original series, but enough of a really cool modern touch to it. I'm having fun with this one because I haven't looked at anything Voltron related for years. Like the last thing I remember seeing like of that age was a complete anime. That was what was it? Gunbuster, and by Gainax, the same studio that does Evangelion and FLCL, all those kind of. But that was the last thing I saw. Even near that era, and it's just great to see this not just in a remaster like a re-release, but this is really cool reboot.
It's fun. It is cool. It's well, I don't want to say childlike. It's lighthearted in some areas that are kind of childlike, but also good, compelling story in others, and it's just a beautiful show.
Yeah.
I'm not an anime guy. I'll watch a good animation though.
Oh yeah,
that's what this is. It's a great show. You've got season. I'm jealous. You have season 2 waiting for you. These things. How some people they'll get addicted to the season that they're watching on Netflix. They're only 30-minute TV shows, so you can this is like bite size. You don't get a lot of it. You get I think 13 episodes, and boom, you're done. You're done in half a day, and you didn't even know it. And that's exactly how I watched season 1. I was like, oh, that's it. And that's the same way it went for season 2. It was like I knew I was coming to the end. I'm like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, it's like it's like a good dessert or something.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, so I'm trying to pace it just a bit, and plus just time wise, but I didn't have time to go through everything at once, and I'm glad I didn't, even if I did. So
here's the thing. And so season 1's obviously been out for about a year now. Season 2 came out some months ago. So a little bit of spoilerish. Do you think they are going to kill the Rangers, right?
Yeah.
The Black Ranger. Do you think they're going to kill him? Everybody thinks they're going to kill him, and they're going to do because this happened in the classic show, and then there was a shift in the roster. I really like him. I can't remember his name right now. I really like the character.
I do too. The cat. He's got a good introduction to the team. He's able to hold them together early on. Without I think a whole lot of incident or some other crazy scenario. Forcing him into a weird position. He just fits. He fits the role real good. He fits in with the team well. Right. Because of the nature of this, not quite. Like I understand why people would think that, but they're
expecting it. Everyone says that they're expecting it to happen because one, they did it in the original,
right.
Two, they haven't had a death yet for a major character, so I guess I'm kind of spoiling that to you for season 2. But you don't. It's kind of weird because you really don't want it to happen. You really don't. But a lot of people are just kind of expecting it.
Yeah.
I hope they don't.
Yeah, it's and make sure I got it. Shiro, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because for myself as an older fan, I relate with that character the most.
Cool.
So I'm hoping they don't. But I got a feeling they're gonna. And just like I believe this is how the cartoon went from the 80s was the red ranger becomes the black one, and then the princess turns into the red one. I think, which still wears pink.
Yeah, I hope not either. There's one other series that had something kind of similar like this, at least like the roster shakeup. Do you remember Ronin Warriors?
No.
Now this was a straight out anime, but it did come on during the early '90s, and I really got into the series. It was a Voltron-esque idea. It was like these 5 samurai, but they didn't know that they could fuse. They each had separate suits of armor that represented a different element or like a different power. But once they did learn that they actually could combine all of them, like way later in the series, it really changed the dynamics of everything. And people were wondering, oh man, like, is the main guy, like Ryo, like C-Toast? Is he going to be off and everything else? And I really got into that series, and that didn't quite go how I thought it would. So we'll see.
Are you watching new season of Attack on Titan yet? That I think they just started here in the last couple of weeks. AOT and I have a weird relationship.
I feel that series has so much potential. I quickly got frustrated by it.
Really?
I think that they throw out way too many plot tendrils, and they don't resolve anything. Now, I can forgive that if you point that to a larger mission of the why. But look, hey, I'm just going to throw this on the board. This doesn't even spoil most of the whole series. You begin episode 1, you get it, how dire the threat of the Titans are. Told about this basement they got to get to. You get to that basement, you'll unlock the secrets. There's something weird with Eren. There's something weird with his family. There's something going on, and we're built up to that. And then there's this whole mission about getting there, and then that's just overturned. Now we're on this other thing about other types of Titans and all this other stuff. And it spins in such a crazy direction that I fear we're not going to get back on track. So I'm laying back on Attack on Titan a bit. I watched the whole first season. I've read some of the manga. But it's a series that frustrates me a bit. That doesn't say I've completely given up on it, but I'm leery about it.
Oh, you didn't give me enough time. I was going to check and see where things were for the production of the movie. I know I think they've actually made a Japanese movie, but I think there's an American one in the works.
Yeah, there was supposed to be some live actions in the works, and another part of this too. I want to say the original creator didn't quite expect for this to go as far as it did. He was sort of surprised with the stellar success it had. And the manga's just been adding on ever since, and adding on and adding on. So my worry is that will ultimately dilute this series in some kind of way, and I really hope it doesn't, because that whole first mystery again about the basement, I think that's a really cool, compelling plot point. I want to know. What I don't want it to is become like Game of Thrones or the next shock factor of whoever's death. Yeah, that at least for me, that's not enough to sell a series, man. It's just so if they stay on track and if somehow they connect all this back to those original things, I will be on board and I will give it a hearty thumbs up. But till then,
Yeah, I got to start watching it. I have not been as much of a fan as I've wanted to be. When I saw it show up on Netflix, I was like a little giddy schoolgirl. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was so excited when I saw it come on Netflix, and then it was just subtitled, and that was it. That was it.
You don't dig subs at all, do you?
No, my gooey, cheesy American brain did not handle that from an animation. Because you know why? Because I want to watch the animation. I don't want to read. You know what I'm going to do when I have drawn pictures in front of me with text? You know what that is? That's a comic book. I read those already. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on animation because that picture is not going anywhere.
Man, hey, I hear you. I've done.
So I'm not wrong.
No, I hear you. That's actually a very common argument. Even a lot of people in my own circle talk about. It's just, as a fan, for me it depends how I start a series, especially anime. Like if I get into it as sub, I will watch the whole thing sub because now that's what I'm used to in my head. If I start it with the English dub, I'll probably stick with it. But I don't care.
I think it's still, if it's even still up there, I think it's still just subtitled. That annoys the crap out of me. Because there are episodes I've missed. I've caught the latter I think the last quarter of it. I've seen
Well,
episodes in between, but I have caught the end of that first season, and I was like, wow, I missed a lot of cool stuff. I would love to watch this.
yeah. Well, here's what you should do. What's happening?
Go online. I hear you can get these things for free.
Well, not hold up.
Allegedly, I'm not saying I'm gonna do that.
Like, what's happening with Attack on Titan is sort of like Dragon Ball right now. So with Dragon Ball Super, you can go like watch all of that, but it's all subbed.
I'm not gonna watch that.
Well, right, but if you listen to my larger point, this might lead you towards watching, Attack on Titan. So, like you said, you can get gooey cheese American style with it. Listen to you. Hold up. So, season 2 of Attack on Titan is airing right now on Adult Swim. It comes on every. In fact, it's coming on tonight.
Yeah.
But super late, and those are all in dub. So I'm sure once that cycle completes, they'll eventually release like a dub collection, or they'll have that like posted elsewhere. But hey, if you want to catch dub, you're gonna have to stay up late. Best I can give you. Right.
Yeah, maybe they're pulling like an AMC. AMC does this with The Walking Dead, where this. I think 3 weeks before the new season comes on, they'll release the last season, all of it on Netflix.
Right.
Maybe they've already done that. Maybe there's an update and I just didn't look. I haven't been on Netflix too much.
So, hey, toss us a line anytime. That's ksawmedia at gmail.com, of course. Like, favorite, comment, subscribe. All that good stuff. All that good stuff. And until then, you guys take it easy. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.